My name is Laura Large, and I'm nervous already. I grew up in a very strict and legalistic church, and when I was in junior high, I can remember them saying that they thought the world was going to come to an end in like 1983, which was the year I would have graduated from high school. So I was a little freaked out about that, of course. And when 1983 rolled around and I was still there and the world was still there, when I left for college, I rebelled. And I rebelled in a big way. I drank a lot and I partied a lot and I had a lot of boyfriends. And by the time I was 24 years old, I was married and had committed adultery. I was divorced and I was remarried again. Only this time I remarried a man that had 3 beautiful children. And he and I decided that we had both grown up going to church, and that's what good parents do. You make sure your kids go to church. He was raised Lutheran, and so we went to the Lutheran church, and we did the things you're supposed to do, but I never felt, I always knew who God was in my life, but I never felt like I had a real relationship with him before. I guess it was about 1995, December of 1995. We were told, after trying for 5 years that we would never have any children of our own. I was on my way to work and it was in the winter and there was some black ice on the road and I was driving a little black sports car and I hit a patch of black ice and I flew off the side of the road. And I can remember as the car was spinning all around that there was this huge, ginormous tree, and I kept thinking, don't hit that tree, don't hit that tree. I knew if I hit that tree, I was dead. And for whatever reason, I did not hit that tree. And when I was in the emergency room, they asked if there was any chance I was pregnant before they started taking x-rays. And I said, oh, no, there's no chance. I said, well, maybe. So they ran a pregnancy test, and that was the day I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. Fast forward 4 years ahead, and find out I was not only not supposed to ever have any kids in my life, I was given 2 children. And when Eric was born, my husband and I were both acutely aware that there was something different with Eric, but the doctors kept telling us that everything was okay. When he was 4 months old, we were told, maybe we'll get a genetic workup just to see what was going on. And I did all my own research on my own and had pretty much determined that Eric had this rare genetic disorder that only like 500 people in the world had, and that's exactly what he was diagnosed with. And these kids a lot of time don't live to be 1 year old, and they don't make it till they're 3, and it was very bleak. It was actually through Eric that it was God working to draw me back to him. I realized that although I had a working knowledge of who God was, I never knew who Jesus was and what he represented. And Eric taught us what's really important in life. And for many years in our life, I lived moment to moment, just living for the moment. When Eric was little, life was hard. His first 7 years of life, we didn't sleep. We were in the hospital constantly, multiple surgeries. Our marriage was very difficult raising a family. Financially, we were busted. All of our money was going to hospital bills and insurance. And it was actually through, like I said, through Eric that I realized who Christ was. When I was starting to search again for a church, and when Cross Church came to Staunton in that spring, that first Easter, and I believe in 2011, we went. And for the first time in my life, when I sat in a church, I felt something. I knew something was right. And I went home, and for the first time in my life, when I read the Bible, everything was making sense to me. And it's just been a relationship with Christ. And I look back, and it was like the second or third week we were in church, the worship song was, oh no, you never let go of me. And it felt like the Hoover Dam had just burst open on me. I knew God was with me that whole time, and I was just too blind to see it. So now I have overwhelming joy and hope, and the things that I used to fear in life about not being good enough or strong enough or doing the right things, I realize now it doesn't matter. That through Christ, I am clean and I am whole. I'm loved and I'm honored and cherished, and that I am the daughter of God Almighty and the Ancient of Days. And nothing else really matters right now. It's that relationship. And it's through the grace that God has shown me through my life that I want everybody to know what it's like, that it is so much better on this side of the road. Doesn't matter where you've been or what's happened to you, Christ still wants you in his life.